Kingsley Bempah, it's such a pleasure to have you here today. Listeners, we today have a really exciting guest. Kingsley has set up an organization called ARK Resettlement Services, a really exciting organization which has helped over 1,000 people in supporting them from being released from prison. You spend your life supporting people with a criminal conviction to have the chance to be able to reintegrate with society and have a better future. Kingsley, what an exciting way to spend your time. It's great to have you here.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Arthur. Thanks for having me.
Just to give the listeners some information about the charity, ARKS was set up in 2014 with the mission to reduce reoffending rates in the UK and supports people in a whole range of ways when they leave prison, providing accommodation, access to benefits, improving physical and mental health, introducing them to the community, and helping them gain trust in themselves. Now, some quick facts. 70,000 people are released from prison each year in the UK. On average, 68% of those reoffend. 48% will offend within year one. 30% of people who leave prison have nowhere to live. ARK's mission is to lower this. ARK helps people in their first 2 years of support in providing these services and has achieved phenomenal success to date. So 87.5% of their service users did not reoffend between 2023 and 2024. They've helped over 1,503 people to date, and 8 out of 10 people live independently after working with ARKs. So many things to think about. Kingsley, were there clues earlier on in your life that you would be doing something like this?
Well, Arthur, thanks for that. Earlier in life, you go through life's journeys and through, I would say it's quite funny because I didn't have any of my family members involved in the criminal justice, but I guess growing up, I knew people that were involved in the criminal justice and some of the pathways that they had to take as a result of that. And that really shaped my thinking in my life in terms of how people that, due to possible the experiences in life as a child or all of them were connected with something that I felt wasn't working as a result, that they commit an offence, whether it starts petty crimes to becoming repeat offenders and then leading out some of them unfortunately to prison. So these are some of the earlier life experiences that really shape my thinking when it comes to people that are involved in the criminal justice.
What do you see as the lowest hanging fruits to helping people in these circumstances?
It starts from early years, and in our sector, early intervention is key to starting from when the kids are in school. Those are the signs of the children's home life, who they hang out with. Those things are early indicators when it comes to people eventually getting themselves into the criminal justice system. So these are some of the areas that I feel that it's always important for us to look at what is happening in the early years. If those issues are dealt with, I think that they stand a chance of becoming capable individuals in society by addressing these early signs when they're children.
It's quite remarkable what you've achieved, given how many stakeholders you've had to work with over the years. Give us an insight into, I mean, for example, your charity that you've set up has bought buildings, works with so many different stakeholders. Give us a flavour of advice that you have for people in terms of getting things done.
Well, thanks for that, Arthur. Well, the flavours is quite many. As you said, we work with different stakeholders, and difficulty is trying to get the door open for us to be able to tell our stories, because I think it's really important for us to let a potential stakeholder to know what problems we're trying to solve. So they know that we're set up to solve a problem, but they want to know how effective are these issues, problems that we're trying to solve. How well we're trying to address these important issues. So as we know, accommodation plays a key role, as you said in your introduction. People released from custody into the community with nowhere to live. It's a problem. How would they be able to manage their risk within the community All of these things are an important factors. So we try and do our very best to speak to our stakeholders and our funders to be able to help us to solve these important societal problems that tend to become society's problem when people in the community who have criminal convictions with nowhere to live. That becomes a society's problem because of these issues, such as not having a fixed address, and these are issues that can lead to them reoffending and going back to prison.
There's this phrase of when you give, things come back at you eventually. There must have been moments where you've been really touched by people backing you. Maybe it's a financial institution deciding to work with you, or someone who's got an amazing experience or expertise. Throw us into an understanding of when you've been backed.
If I want to talk about all these funders, it's going to take the whole program. But I think that, people can go to our website, arkresettlement.co.uk, www.arkresettlement or arkrs.co.uk to see that. But it's exactly what you said, Arthur, about organisations buying into what we do. We've got organisations such as the John Armitage Charitable Trust that has been really good for us, the Community Fund, the City Brick Trust, Garfield Worsting. We have other potential organisations that we're speaking to at the moment that will also want to support us. So the numbers are growing, but to have organisations that want to help us to deliver some of the outcomes that we desperately need. Should I mention fishmongers as well? Have been supportive to our work, and they're helping us particularly to a particular service that address people, give them early interventions as they come out of prison. But recently also we have social investors, and that has helped us to be able to purchase one of our properties to be able to spread, improve the work that we do. Social investment business has been supportive, and also have a Trust for London helping us to make accommodations that people desperately need to when they are released into the community.
The hurdles that you would have climbed over to get even one of those institutions to work with you, it must be quite remarkable. Looking back to the long journey, you set this charity up in 2014. What would be the messages that you would pass on now to your younger self in seeing where you've got today? Because I feel like patience must have been such a big play in that. How have you kept the hope in those moments where you've just faced brick wall after brick wall?
Absolutely. I mean, to tell my younger self, a start of resilience, because we are working to resolve a problem in society, and the people that we're trying to help are the ones that are marginalised in society. So that is the driving force, trying to be resilient in our approach. I think I'll tell my younger self to be patient, as you said, and also to let the service users that we're trying to help tell their own stories, to be able to see their journey with us. I think that's really important, to look at where they were when we first started working with them, to the transformation that they've made at the end of their 2 years. Those things, it is a driving force that really I will speak to my younger self not to give up, but keep going. Have that determination and the resilience to be able to support these ones, because we know that we're doing something that is worthwhile. So I'll tell my younger self to keep going.
There must be so many moving moments. Maybe there's a moment where you've cried because of the feeling so overwhelmed by a case where you've been able to help someone. Can you put us into that situation where you've heard about an individual who really needs help and things have just, you've been able to really support them and now things are going well?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot, and of course my team, I do get monthly reports about some of the differences that we're making. So there's quite a number of them, and you see some of the problems, Arthur, is that people that struggling with substance misuse before they went into prison and upon release, and some of the challenges that they face, there've been quite a number of them, but the ones that really clearly in my mind is One of our service users that, because of his in this offence, had to spend a life. He was on a life license, what previously used to be the IPP. So he spent right about up to total about 20 year plus in prison, and to see the transformation coming out to the big world, knowing that the society has moved on, even though he was in prison, he hadn't had the opportunity to adapt himself to technologies of the world that has moved on. So to see such an individual who spent majority of his life in prison and coming out and addressing some of the substance misuse issues that he was going through and being able to settle in the community in our 2 year program, able to move on to independent living. Now, it's a joy. And as you said, it can be emotional to see the transformation of people making these important steps in their life to be able to live a life that is free from crime. It's quite rewarding, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. We're now going to just show a video.
I was out on a night with 2 other people who lived in the hostel as well. We were drinking alcohol, and then we got into a fight with one guy, and that guy was a GBH, and like broken ribs and that. And then a second one was like an assault, and that guy died. It was there was a life sentence, but do 12.5 years minimum.
ARK have actually helped me a lot because I had no housing. I pretty much had no one. I was on the street, in and out of prison. Basically, well, the whole time I was on the street, I was taking crack, heroin, spice. I was also shoplifting to find money. I was just basically, I come back out and I was in the same situation, and then just back on the street. So then there was just the river open door, and then probation put me in touch with ARK.
Well, when I spoke to Anna on the phone, she was very polite. So even before I come there, I was already at ease. And then when I had a conversation with you and Anna, after about 20 minutes, it wasn't really like an interview. It was just more like we're just having a general conversation. So I was even more at ease. You asked me about myself. What I learned from jail. What have I learned since then? Before I went to jail, I was quite stubborn. Like, I'll listen to what you say, but if I'm right, I'm right. I'm not good. I don't really want to listen to your opinion. But now I'm more tolerant of people. You alter my general well-being, basically. And the main thing is that you listen as well. But sometimes when I've spoken to other people, like probation officers and authority, they don't really listen. They hear what you're saying, but they're not listening, and it's not the same thing.
And then they put me into one of their houses, and they were like, they said to me about if I keep my head down, do all the right things, I'd have my place for up to 2 years. The situation now is it's going a lot better than what I had previous. So obviously I've got a roof over my head now, and things have started to move forward.
At the moment, I'm waiting to start a PTS course on the 2nd of November. PTS stands for Personal Track Safety. So basically, it's like working on the trains, doing maintenance, fixing the train lines. And when I mentioned the PTS, they automatically started looking for ways to me to do the PTS course. So they'll find that information for me that I didn't have access to. So they were really hopeful in that, and they were supportive. I'm happy where I'm at the moment, but I'm not fully where I want to be. I've made a lot of strides, but I still got a long way to go. Like I'm not at the finishing point by a long way yet. So
3 years ago, you wouldn't want to have met me. Put it that way. I was not a nice person. Most of the time I was always down. Anyone who tried to get close to me, I'd just push them away. But now, I don't know, now I just feel happier in here. that I'm actually going somewhere with my life and not how it used to be.
It's really important that people that experience a custodial sentence upon release will have somewhere to live. And the idea is to help them settle within the community and also having a fixed address. You know, people forget that if you come out, if you release into the big world with no fixed address, you won't be able to access things such as benefits, such as healthcare. You need a fixed address to be able to access a GP, for example. So all these things are crucial when people come out of prison. Being able to give them a stability for up to 24 months. The idea is just to help them to access these important amenities within the community. And it's important for them to also connect with their family members. These are part of their rehabilitation. Family and friends close to where they live, and also be able to engage within the statutory sector, because such ones come out with having statutory responsibilities with the police and also with the probation service. Having a fixed address helps them to be able to supervise with their license in the community. But the remarkable thing that comes as a result of that is being able to have a place to call home, because majority of these individuals haven't had the opportunity upon release from prison, where some, unfortunately, who are released with no fixed address end up sleeping on a bus or end up homeless, and as a result continuing the reoffending lifestyle as a result of that. Having somewhere to live is so important in addressing their offending behavior. Being able to do that is something that we pride ourselves in, knowing that we're able to resolve such an important part of their life.
And where are things at for you today? Do you see the charity, do you think it's reached its scale, its optimum size?
Well, that's a good question. We're trying to be supportive because our referral reach is, we get referrals all over the country. So it's very difficult, but unfortunately, we don't have the capacity to be able to have so many bed spaces. At the moment, we've got only about 100 bed spaces, but we have a 3 to 5 year strategy that we're working on with the board, and the idea is for us to have an incremental change, at the same time reach many people as we can. But it all depends on support that we get to be able to address these issues that people face as providing them with accommodation upon release.
Interesting. And looking at the wonderful material your charity has produced, as well as insights, clearly it's so multifaceted in how these people can receive support and the nature of and the complexity of support that they need. I guess if on one end of the spectrum you've got providing someone with housing, that's a big support, right? Difficult to scale. Are there services that you feel can be more easily scaled, that you're being pulled to create, or not?
Yeah, I mean, there's always services that, because we've got specific projects that we run that we feel that can be scaled, but of course it depends on, there's always funding constraints, and as you know, Arthur, I mean, when it comes to charities, one of the superpowers that they have is always trying to raise funding for these specific projects. I guess one of the things that we're trying to do now is to fundraise for core costs rather than specific projects, because we already have existing specific projects that we feel that we need to develop a bit more. But it's about trying to go deeper rather than trying to spread ourselves thin. Perfects what we already established. We've got so many different projects that we run, and we've got the care project, the moving forward project, the ARK service as well. These services is geared towards supporting people to meet specific outcomes such as employment training, education, employment, and is already important. And there are specific services that focus on fun and enjoyment. For example, some individuals, because of their history, haven't had the opportunity to learn certain skills, people skills, when it comes to things such as traveling to different parts of the country. They've not had the opportunity to do that yet. Things like volunteering is also really important. So there are specific projects that deals with specific needs of our service users. So we just want to make sure that more people are able to access these projects and programs that we produce internally.
And how can listeners support your charity? What are the key challenges that you're facing at the moment? Is it more housing specifically through working with property owners, or funding?
Yeah, it's a combination of what you've said, Arthur. The challenges we face now is being able to meet the services demands when it comes to being able to accommodate these individuals. Of course, we would like to have that support when it comes to helping us accommodate such individuals. Also, to be able to give them support after the resettlement, because after the 2-year program, we help them to acquire independent accommodation. It'd be good for us to continue to offer them floating support, just checking to see if things are okay after they've moved on from us. Because sometimes, because of the complexity of these individuals that we work with, they'll still need some kind of follow-up support. And because of the capacity issues, we're not able to keep up with these things. And as I'm sure you've heard in the news about the early release program, because of that, we inundated with people being referred to us needing a place to live upon release. So all of these things stretches what we can offer at the moment. So yes, the more support, the better for us. And if there are organisations out there that would like to partner with us, we would love to have organisations that want to help us reach as many people as possible.
Are there policy changes that you feel should be in place as soon as possible that could reduce reoffending rates?
I say what I think there are lots of things, and subsequent governments have been working with voluntary sector organisations and charities and community interest organisations over the years. It comes down to listening to the organisations on the ground, because there are not just ARK Resettlement Services there, but there are other grassroots organisations that are trying to partner national and regional organisations, charities, to resolve these problems. It's about speaking to these grassroots organisations and regional and national organisations who are trying to resolve the same problems. So it's listening, really, and it's also about trying to support these organisations, not through just funding, but one of the best gifts you can give to organisations is helping to strengthen their governances to support such organisations to reach as many people as possible.
There feels like such a big disconnect between the world of crime, people who've got a criminal record, and, as you say, other parts of society. Do you envision a way in which two systems can work together more? For example, mentorship schemes. Do you have a view on people who are very far away from these worlds being educated around them?
Yeah, you're right. I think that there's a disconnect with people's understanding of the criminal justice system, people that go to prison, unfortunately. There is a disconnect. It's important that we understand that people that offend are part of our society, and if we don't try to address these problems by giving them structured support within the community, they'll become our problem. It's about understanding the processes and people that sadly end up within our criminal justice, to see what sort of support they will need when they're in the community, but having an understanding of why people offend and what are some of the impacts that it has on the individuals and the society at large. And we all sometimes unfortunately become victims of crime, or sometimes also we know someone that's sadly have engaged in such activity. So it's about having an understanding, not to just to demonize people that unfortunately find themselves in these situations, but to have an understanding of what they can do to help. And that's what ARK Resettlement Services is doing.
If one imagines someone's sentence is about to finish, they're about to leave jail, in the most basic terms, that's the day that they're very looking forward to. But it's become clear that's also a very scary day, because for some people, they don't have a home to move to, they don't have a fixed address, a job, family. Can you shed some light into the reality for these people and how difficult it is for them?
Absolutely, Arthur. Imagine people that have spent their time in prison. Majority of the time, such individuals lose contact with their family, and there might be a relationship breakdown if they are in relationships. And if they have children, chances are that their children wouldn't have that relationship that they had with their parents as other parents would have. Some of the privileges that parents within the community will have, they wouldn't have that. So, and plus, they're coming into the community not equipped with certain skills that they need to be able to get into education, training, and employment. All these factors amounts to and them trying to resettle in the community, and compounded the fact that they wouldn't have any fixed address. Majority of the individuals that are released from prison wouldn't have a fixed address, and that can be an issue. Trying to imagine someone trying to access education, training, or employment or healthcare with no fixed address. How will that person be able to access these services? So these are some of the challenges that they face. So having a place to live, plays a vital role in stabilizing these individuals within the community.
Has there been a case where you've come across someone who, unfortunately, things are really tough and there's not looking like a way out for them based on so many variables, but somehow, against all odds, they've got out of whatever place that is and are doing really well?
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of them that we've worked with, myself and a team, especially our frontline team and our managers. They deal with individuals such as this on a daily basis, people that upon release were struggling to be able to maintain that sense of independence within the community. So unfortunately, some struggle to cope with the demands of being on the outside because of not being able to. In prison, everything is, you're in a confined space, you're supported and given certain things to be able to reach out to. But in the community, it can be difficult. Those that probably are struggling with substance misuse might end up going back to their old ways. And these things can happen where individuals come out and they get back to their old lifestyle again because they feel there's no support in the community for them. And there have been instances where these individuals have managed to sort out their substance misuse and dependencies and able to eventually hold on to a voluntary work and also eventually get into paid employment.
Are there some misconceptions around this whole world that you get frustrated about?
I mean, there's quite a lot. I mean, there's a lot of misconceptions of people released from prison have all sort of issues that they need dealing with. People that want to live on the same street with them, or they bring crime, or they bring all sort of stuff. There's a lot of misconception when it comes to people that are incarcerated and coming into the community. So it's about trying to educate ourselves on how to deal with such individuals. They are human beings like any of us, but it's just that they took a wrong path. And in life, people make mistakes, we make mistakes, and certainly they are incarcerated. The idea is to correct them and they spend their time, and whilst they're out, we all as a society have to play a part in helping them to resettle in the community, but rather than have a preconceived ideas about how we feel that they are going to be performing within the community. But like any other person, they need support, they need connecting to their family members, love and care that any of us will experience returning to a place that we were removed from because of our mistakes that we make. If we're able to give them support, majority will turn their life around.
Are there any stories you'd like to tell us?
One particular one that really stood out to me is a particular individual that was a Michelin chef. This guy was doing really well, and as a result, the stresses. It was a normal, a normal person doing, a very important work, but he became addicted to substances eventually, and he was struggling, and eventually, because of his dependencies, he committed a crime and went in and for some time. He spent about 4 years in prison. And this individual wrote to the team about a program that he wants to work on upon release. So he wanted us to help him. So the team was supporting him. We started to visit him in prison to work on his project that he wanted to work on. And his program was based on using food to support people when he's out. So cooking, for example. So, and the cooking fosters friendship and discussion about their experiences and their life journeys. This individual was released. The team really supported him to set up this food project that he had in mind. And I'm happy to say that he is now out and doing very well in the community and is able to use cooking and sitting down and having a meal together, and also having important conversations about his journey and what the other people are going through, and also teaching them cooking skills. These individuals, and one of the outcomes I was looking for is that these individuals that join his program will benefit from having a cooked meal rather than depending on takeaways and fast foods. I can go on to tell you about those helping their peers to get into fitness. These are all things that brings us joy to see that they're able to become productive members of society.
Are there some quite left field examples that you can think of, people having a niche skill that ended up plucking them into a world of opportunities that they never expected?
Yeah, you see people that they always, most of our services always pride themselves in being entrepreneurial. You've seen that they have this drive and desire to be entrepreneurs. And that's really nice to see, and so interesting. What one of our service users, who proudly, because he started a personal trainer for some time now, also spent about 8 years in prison, and eventually he set up a personal training company. He's doing really well, and he was able to proudly came to us during our 10-year anniversary, where he told us and informed us, and he's now managed to purchase a house, which is an incredible feeling to be able to see his journey and where he's at now. And it's just incredible really to see that these individuals are able to make those changes, working, looking after themselves and their families.
Do you have views around people visiting a prison, education, exposure being an important piece in terms of society, understanding more around crime and how we can reduce reoffending rates?
Yeah. I think you can't blame society about the unknown, about people that go to prison, people that, if you don't know anyone or having experience that, I think people have, as we said, preconceived ideas about the prison setup. But it's just, as you said, it's about education, really. We can't blame society for having these preconceived ideas, but what we can do is to try to educate people, talk to people about how can we help people that slightly are part of society that get themselves into these problems in life. So it's about trying to have a positive view about people that slightly had to go through these journeys, and such as being in prison, because it happens to, during my years working within the sector, it's not just people that we feel fits a certain brackets, but any walks of life. This can happen to the best of us. I've seen people that were holding really important jobs in society that suddenly got themselves into trouble, and so it's about viewing such individuals that they have the ability to transform their life, irrespective of their past. That's how we should see it. as we said in the beginning, early intervention when it comes from the children to adults is really important, because majority of their issues and the problems that we face as adults is linked to our childhood experience, and these are some of the issues that society needs to pay attention to when it comes to people that go on to offend.
Clearly, there's so many parts of the puzzle. Are there lots of opportunities for people to volunteer in these prisons? How can people who have got a bit of time help people who are in that world?
Yeah, that's a very good question. There are opportunities for people to volunteer. Of course, in the community, more than prisons, they have their ways that you can volunteer. But I think that most of the support and people volunteering their time within the community to, these voluntary organisations, voluntary sector organisations, these charities that are doing an incredible job in helping these individuals. And majority of these organisations are small, and they will deal with some skills. There are professionals that can help these individuals, these organisations, to improve their governance, for example, to improve in areas, because charities are not set up to be business orientated, but these individuals that are skilled with whether it's legal or accountancy, human resources.
What are the reasons to be optimistic right now? Maybe it's to do with what you're seeing in policy changes. It could also be related to some learnings that you've had as an organisation around what can help people.
I mean, there's, as you rightly said, there is a lot of opportunities. We should look at the future with a lot of optimism, because we know that these issues that society face, this can be addressed. And so we're quite optimistic in terms of people that we have managed to support in our own small way. There is a reason for optimism, but it has to come to how we're able to get external support outside of local authorities and other statutory organisations that help support our works. But the belief that we've had from trusts and foundations in helping our work to reach where we've reached at the moment, we wouldn't have done it without the support that we've received.
We're now going to move on to the quick-fire questions. 3 things that bring you joy.
People, family, always brings me joy, and being able to connect with individuals and organisations that share our passion for helping people and supporting people.
A mantra you want to embrace now would be?
Keep it simple.
One unusual thing that gives you pleasure.
I like to visit new places that I haven't been. Places that I've heard that, is a no-go area. But yeah, those things will give me pleasure.
A no-go area.
Yeah, where people think, oh, you don't have to visit this place because this and that and that. But I'm quite always intrigued about what people feel might not be the right thing to do. But just when you work within this sector, you always like to take a risk. So that's what drives me sometimes. And usually I just want to try things that people that want to do.
It just makes you think of surprises. I mean, you must live in such a world filled with so many surprises around extraordinary stories about people, but also extraordinary accomplishments of what people achieve, having had certain things happen to them.
Yeah, there's always, we say in our line of work that every day is not the same, because we deal with people with complex needs, and that really gives us a lot of joy and satisfaction, knowing that we're able to help people to make a difference in their lives. Or sometimes it's about not only the challenges they face in a day, but some of the achievements as well, such as helping someone to be able to apply to university. Those things are just, wow, this is amazing. Some of our service users pursuing skilled or education. We had someone recently got into university to pursue media and music. All these things are something that brings us joy, to see that we are making a difference. Sometimes about the simple things. Some of our service users who was struggling, had some issues, that is able to never pursue employment but got a voluntary work, for example, working animals charity. All these things are an incredible achievement for individuals that have other health issues that because of that limits what they can do, but eventually able to put themselves out there and to do something that really improve their physical and mental well-being. It's an amazing feeling to have.
One thing that is in for you right now, and one thing that is out.
What's in for me is that my daughter loves music, and listening to some of her music has really inspired me, what she's listened to, and she likes the music that I grew up listening to, so that really makes me reconnect with the music. She likes to listen to 90s music, and yeah, I like that, even though she's quite young, a teenager.
And the last one is you'll see these people going through these transformations, through helping them. An amazing story with this chap who had keys thanks to your organisation, and he made out that he's never had a house key before, and every 5 minutes he just kept on putting his hand on his pocket, and it's unreal to him, just the concept where he's got a home. It's such a unique insight that you will have had through working with these thousands of people. What has it taught you around what things that humans really appreciate having?
We shouldn't underestimate the gift that we have as humans. Things that sometimes some of us take for granted, but as humans, our needs are the same. We all want to have a place to lay our heads. We all want to be loved. We all want to have a sense of purpose. We all want to have families and friends. And these are some of the things that I've learned, that's whether you are involved in the criminal justice or not, our needs are the same. So if thoughts meet, it just really helped me to look at the people that we're trying to help, and that their needs are the same for other individuals who are pursuing a different course of life. But yeah, it just grounds all of us that our needs are the same. So like this individual you referred to, who tapped on his keys because he's never had a place to live, ever. But you might argue that he's in his 40s. He should be able to at least have one tenancy, but he's never held a tenancy in his life. So these are some of the factors that brings us joy, to see that we're able to make those small changes to help people to live independently.
Kingsley, it's a real privilege to have your time and for you to share your story. You're clearly a very modest man as well, with how you relate to all of your countless accomplishments. It very much feels like you help a world which is still very much behind the covers. It's not known about to most people, and there's huge opportunity for people to be helped through more storytelling, and maybe through that and donations, etc. The reoffending rates can go down. But thank you so much for coming on today, and it's been a real privilege.
Oh, good to be with you, Arthur. Thanks a lot. Thanks for inviting us.